everybody. We are back. Renovations here at the studio are officially done if you've watched my last video, but Superpower review is officially back for more shows. I got my friend Jake here, this big gooba.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man?
Not
today we are going to be talking about the Venom movie that came out about a month ago. I know it's kind of late, but you know what? The show's back, and I really want to talk about this movie because Venom, as you all know, is one of my favorite characters. So I went to go see Venom with this cack over here. Rotten Tomatoes gives this movie a 30% Rotten Tomato meter.
30%?
30%.
Was that really that low?
You didn't know that?
I knew it was like that before the hand, before everything was finalized. But I figured once the movie came out, it would have been a little bit better.
And IMDb gives it a 7.0 out of a 10. So
that sounds a little bit better. Because I'm pretty sure that's what we said. I was like, what did we say? I was like, 70%.
Yeah. So obviously you don't agree with the Rotten Tomato meter.
Rotten Tomatoes garbage.
Yeah,
their standards are way too high for comic book movies. I think that it's about the fluff. It's about what's going on. And I mean, I think Rotten Tomatoes is too caught up in the drama of it needed to be a good story. We read comic books. How good does it need to be? We're sitting there back in the day, just flipping through the pages.
I gotta be honest, recently I've been watching movies that Rotten Tomatoes has high ratings for, and they've been absolute garbage.
Yeah, they're biased. I feel like they are. I feel like they are holding true to some kind of stereotype.
But 88% of the audience liked this movie, so it's kind of it's really no balance whatsoever.
That? We're in that.
Yeah, we're in that. But I do have to agree more with the IMDb rating of the 7.0 out of the 10.
Agreed.
Maybe even a 7.5. I don't know. So what were some of your favorite things about this movie, and what were some of your dislikes about this movie?
So some of my favorites were, one, Tom Hardy. Hands down, believe anything that he's in, he's going to do well. He doesn't sign on to things that just aren't going to do well. And that's why I don't really believe that Rotten Tomatoes is kind of accurate on that whole thing. But Tom Hardy brought a very interesting twist to the whole thing. If you think of Tom Hardy, you think of things like Lawless, you think of The Warrior, where he's just like a BA, and he's just larger in life. Here, he's a little dilapidated, kind of funny, I can't run, not physical type. And it's really funny. At first, you think he's a big shot. You think he's really cool because he's some reporter. Kind of think of what's his name? The Anderson guy from the CNN, I believe.
Yeah.
He's a big shot. He goes out and does the dirty work, and he uncovers the story. And I really like that Tom Hardy was like that. And they show you he really gets knocked down a peg because he gets too brass and too bold.
Well, because he does the stories that nobody else wants to really touch on because it might, burn them.
Do exactly what happened to him? Yeah, agreed. So I really like Tom Hardy and how he put his take on it. And even though Tom Hardy is not that guy, he becomes that guy.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And what I really liked is how Venom apparently is that same kind of guy on another planet. And between the two of them, they make someone really cool.
Yeah, they do.
So and they become kind of two halves to a whole. Mm-hmm. So that's why the whole symbiote, I guess, is played out for each other.
One of my complaints about this movie is definitely acting. Other besides Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy was one of the best. The best actor in the movie. But there are some parts in this movie where the acting was definitely not there. It seemed a little weak, and I don't know. It just almost seemed like soap opera-ish a little bit to me.
Yeah. I will say,
like that female scientist.
I was about to call her out.
Yeah.
She is not a good actress.
I
don't like her in anything that she is in. I don't think anything she's in, she just doesn't do justice.
Yeah,
and then when I first saw her in the Venom, I was like, really? I was like, man, that's gonna go to crap.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But definitely this movie, okay. Listen, I had my doubts about this movie.
Of course,
okay?
you've been back and forth for months on this.
The more I saw of this movie, it made me feel a little bit better. But I had no expectations going in this movie whatsoever. But all I have to say is that it is a good first Venom movie. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a super fantastic movie either.
Agreed.
The action scenes were really good in this movie. like the whole like mask copy scene, like that was great when he starts like grabbing a guy and he's throwing him around. He's just beating a whole bunch of guys with that one guy. That was a great scene. So the action scenes are great, and my favorite part about this movie, I have to say, is the relationship between Venom and Eddie Brock. I think that was perfect. They got that perfectly down.
I love that. Like I think, like, so coming from you and I are two sides of the spectrum. I will say, you know everything about the comics. I don't really know too much about Venom. Kevin's a diehard Venom fan. I'm not so much one, too big into the comics for Venom. I live vicariously through him. But so finding out what the relationship, I thought Venom was more BA, more just like, kill things, like I know him from the Spider-Man 1994 comic. I mean, show, sorry.
Yeah.
And I love that Venom. And after seeing him, like, go back and forth, with Eddie Brock in his head, I find it hysterical.
Yeah.
I find it comical. Way different than what you think Venom would be. And not in a bad way. I think it was really cool and refreshing. It was like a new book for me, or a new story. I will say, I do like the action scenes. What I didn't like, though, I have to say, was that they were short. Like the big main fight that was supposed to take place between Riot and Venom was kind of very.
It was quick.
Quick, yeah. I was upset. I was like, wasn't what I wanted it to be. They made it seem like a fluke that he won, and they made it seem like he was just.
It's almost. I see what you're saying. So, and you said this about Spider-Man a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was the same spot.
You don't want him to like lose the battle, but somehow win. You want him to like own the fight, right?
Not so much own the fight, but come up with the idea of like, okay, I'm losing. How can I win?
Yeah.
Be methodical about it. Like, I mean, but then again, I know that some of these characters aren't a methodical people. Yeah. Spider-Man, I understand that he should have been methodical. He should have been able to like break down the whole situation and figure out how to win this fight instead of just kind of like pulling something out of his pocket and calling it a day.
Yeah.
Venom, I understand, is kind of a brute, and he needs to be able to like do that. But I think it still would have been better if he could have came up with some way of being a brute and fighting him, like taking something from Riot somehow, or overpowering Riot. Riot apparently had all these weapons in his arsenal, and Venom is just...
He's just goop.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just a bodysuit. He's muscle. And I would like to have seen him use that to his strength, and like kind of, because Venom is supposed to be this strong person, and the Riot is more of this methodical person. Yeah. So you put a brute against a thinker and everything like that, just like Venom against Spider-Man, a brute versus a thinker. And that's how Spider-Man wins against Venom. I mean, and Venom should have been able to kind of use his brute strength to outdo Riot. Whether it's, pick up the rocket instead of just kind of blow it up.
I don't know. I liked how Riot died. I mean, I thought.
Oh,
it was
yes.
pretty cool.
That was interesting.
I don't know. Have a nice life. Now I don't know if this is 100% true, but I think Tom Hardy did the voice for Venom, which is pretty cool. I actually like the voice. When I first heard it in trailer, I was like, I don't know about that. But when you hear it in movie, it sounds a lot better. Action scene was good. What do you think? What's your favorite scene?
I feel like acting-wise, my favorite scene was the MRI scene.
Yeah.
It kind of showcased Venom. A little bit of vulnerability there. Venom kind of shared something with Eddie Brock when he was like, and it was also, but they made it like they didn't make it too bad where they kind of used humor to mask it up. Where he's like, I don't fire. Yeah, no, not fire. And just like, but like the MRI, and I mean, like it was really good acting. I mean, like it just looked like Tom Hardy got tased, and like he couldn't really like fake that.
Yeah.
Did really good, and did really well. But I also really enjoyed like the fight scenes. It was very well thought out on how to use the symbiote to make up for Tom Hardy. Like when he pulled himself back together after getting in that motorcycle accident, when he was like gonna be bedridden for like 4 months just to heal, but Venom just goes, "Oh, you're back together." I thought it was really cool. That was one of my favorite scenes. I really enjoyed that. I don't know. I enjoyed the relationship That was a big thing for me. I really like it. Just made the movie more enjoyable in those moments of in between fighting, and all that stuff.
See, that whole scene, that mask and copy thing.
Yeah.
That scene to me was one of my favorites, only because it shows the connection that they have. Okay, like him saying mask and copy, you know.
Yeah.
And then that whole fight scene of him just like massacring people with one guy, like showing his brute strength. So I feel like that one scene was everything that is Venom to me.
Exactly, because at that point I feel like Venom and Eddie Brock had finally kind of accepted each other.
Yeah.
And it was a mutual relationship at that point, because Eddie Brock was like, okay, I need you to help me out here. We're gonna do it. Like, okay, I understand you're gonna do your thing. You're gonna mess people up, but I warned him.
Yeah.
He goes, you don't want to do this.
So now let me ask you this now. Now this was the big stigma. Did you feel like Spider-Man needed to be in this movie in order to make a Spider-Man movie?
No, it's not a Spider-Man movie. It's not meant to be a Spider-Man movie. It's meant to be a standalone. It didn't need Spider-Man. I would have loved to see Spider-Man. I thought it would have been a great way to introduce the black suit to Spider-Man, especially when the suit is thought to be destroyed. Mm-hmm. What a great way to introduce Spider-Man picking up the suit while Eddie Brock doesn't get to it.
Yeah.
I honestly, that's what I thought it was going to happen before they kind of like spoiled it, and like he was talking to Eddie Brock and get inside his head when he was talking to the girlfriend.
Yeah, right.
I was excited. I thought they were going to do that. I was like,
see,
oh,
now
man.
like the thing, obviously as being a fan and Amazing Spider-Man 300 being one of my top favorite books. It's not seeing Venom or Spider-Man have interaction yet, but this was obviously Spider-Man did not need to be in this movie. Just because it was done in the comic book originally doesn't mean it necessarily has to be done in a movie too. So it's a different spin. So I have to give credit to Sony for making something different and not original to the book, or staying true to the books. So I don't know. I mean, they can do something completely different, and that was the reason why. And this would be my next question to you. This is the reason why the movie was also watered down to PG-13 and not rated R, because they do want to eventually get these two guys to come together. I personally would have loved to seen this movie rated R. I think I would have loved to seen more chances or more blood and guts if when Venom bit people's heads off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tom Hardy definitely said that Venom does have a problem of biting heads off, and I think I would have loved to seen more of that. Like there was like a certain scene where he does go bite someone's head off, and like his teeth like literally like touch the guy's head, and then it's like a cut scene.
That's a shame.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I think I would have loved to seen more. Like, I think I would have seen more of the Lethal Protector that I know from the books.
Absolutely. I mean, we grew up with them, so now that we're older, we want that.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're trying to pull a fan base. They're trying to pull the younger generation, because I feel like the younger generation is not into comic books like they like. I think we were on the tail end of it. Comic books are still doing well. They're still alive, but I feel like they are with the older crowd. Kind of like the more nostalgic stuff these days. Yeah. Super Nintendo and all that stuff. Kids aren't playing that. We are.
Right.
And that's why it's doing that. They're trying to appeal to two sides of a fan base. And it's really hard to do. It's a very delicate balance. And I feel like to do so, you need to give and take. And here they gave up the PG-13. They took the PG-13 for the rated R. Same thing with Deadpool. Deadpool, they kind of like, we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and they took the rated R route. Granted they might have, granted they might have taken away from the fan base about how kids shouldn't be seeing this movie, especially in theaters.
Yeah.
You know how I feel on that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I feel like they did a decent bit. I feel what they should do is there should be a director's cut and a rated R version when it comes out on DVD.
I would totally love
that. I
that.
think that would be fantastic. Granted,
I would
yes,
totally be game for that.
I don't see why they couldn't do two versions. I think that'd be really cool to see in theaters. It wouldn't be too much different, and then you go, do a late night viewing of Venom rated R.
That'd be great.
That'd
I would
be fantastic.
totally be into that. Now hold on. Okay, so before we run out of time, okay?
Yep.
Since we're on the rated R subject, obviously we see Cletus Cassidy at the end of the credit scene.
Yep.
Okay, which means Carnage is coming. Tom Hardy is already signed up for 2 more Venom movies.
Okay. Very nice. Wow, I didn't know about that.
You didn't know that? Well, now
No,
you do.
you know, I
You've been
did.
schooled, kid. So, with that being said, with no rated R, we're having Carnage. Carnage is 10 times more brutal than what Venom
Agreed.
is. So, do you think maybe for the next movie we're gonna get a rated R, or do you think this is just gonna be another watered down version and PG-13?
I hope it's rated R. I really do.
Maybe a PG-13 was kind of maybe like to test the waters, but I would eventually love to see this go rated R.
Agreed. Carnage is a sadistic serial
crazy,
killer.
Dude. He's
I mean, and how can you do that? It's essentially trying to put Hannibal Lecter into this movie, and how do you make it a PG-13 movie? Like, you can't do that. It's really not possible. Because I mean, imagine making Hannibal Lecter a PG-13 movie. It doesn't really become Hannibal Lecter anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So I don't know how they're really going to do that, because like you can't. Okay, maybe you can have one Venom movie PG-13. Maybe you can. Okay, they obviously just did it. But if you're gonna have Venom and Carnage duke it out, and if Venom is gonna find a way to stop Carnage from murdering people, like, you need a rated R movie for this one.
Agreed.
You definitely need a rated R for that one. All right, so let's go down here. Okay, so let's do the hardcore rating. So what would you give this movie using a CGC grade?
Oh man. I think I'm gonna stick with my, anywhere from 6.8 to 7.4 on a good day.
So okay, so pick between a 7.0 or 7.5.
I'd give it a 7.
A 7. I'm gonna listen because this movie definitely made me walking out of the theater saying, you know what, that was actually not that bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. I'm gonna give this movie an 8.0. What kills it for me is definitely some of the acting. Even the actor who played Riot, I felt like even his acting wasn't even that good sometimes. I do see flaws in the script. I felt like some of the scenes went really, really fast until the middle part of the movie. Then scenes started to go a little bit longer. So they definitely were like rushing to get everything, which I'm okay with to a degree because I already know the character. I'm familiar with the character in the story. But I would have liked to enjoy some scenes a little bit more. And I think that's my downs for it. Other than that, for the plus sides, Tom Hardy's awesome. I think Venom looked decent. I love the relationship between Eddie Brock and Venom, and I thought the action scenes were really good in it too. So
absolutely, I agree. Kind of the points I'd like to hit. Those are the ones I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I like the versatility of the symbiote, and that's kind of where they shows its uniqueness.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did that. Except for the riot fight, of course. I feel like they kind of like pulled back on him for it. But throughout the movie, especially when he's riding the motorcycle, they really showed the versatility of laying down the motorcycle, healing, jumping, and still being able to hold on to the bike, and then dealing with just different people instead of fully masking. Use a partial.
Yeah.
Here, just kind of like it was very situational, and he could like adapt.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed all those aspects of the movie, and it was just a lot of fun.
It's a fun movie.
I feel like they might have spent too much money on Tom Hardy, and that's why they had to sacrifice on some of the acting for like the scientist and the main bad guy.
I believe this movie had $100 million budget.
Tom Hardy, I don't feel is like anything cheap.
No, I don't remember off the top of my head. But I am a bit worried about Venom 2. About being at PG-13, especially having Carnage in it. And I'm actually a little worried, and I was hoping this was going to happen, but kind of already knew that this was going to happen, but I'm not really pumped about Woody Harrelson playing Cletus Cassidy.
I knew you were going to say, you're going to bring this up.
I'm not pumped about it at all.
I'm on the other side of the fence, though. I feel like if Sony does it right.
I'll take it over Jim Carrey because some people were saying Jim Carrey for Carnage. I was like, are you serious?
That would have been, I don't know. No. Jim Carrey, I think, is too funny.
No.
He's too much of funny. As much as like he's become a serious person, I feel like he's become too funny. He would have been horrible for it.
My fan pick would have been Jackie Earle Haley, the actor who plays Rorschach in Watchmen.
I was thinking the same person.
That would have been my top pick.
But I don't know. I like Woody Harrelson just because of the sheer fact of he has that fine line between like funny and insane. I think he can do it right if Sony does it right. Yeah, I think he's a little old. I know that's your biggest qualm is probably his age.
That's not my qualm at all. I just don't feel like he's the perfect fit for that character. That's everything that I've seen of him. I just don't feel like that would be the actor to pick for this character. Everything I've seen from him, I've never seen him like, that could be Cletus Cassidy. That could be a Carnage. I don't know.
See, no, here's my thing. I was like, I want them to make use of Woody Harrelson's age. Carnage can't go toe-to-toe with Venom on sheer brute strength. I feel like Venom will overpower him, of course. But Cassidy, Woody Harrelson, has that sadistic kind of killer in mind where it's going to be, I'm going to set you up, I'm going to trap you, I'm going to use you, where you don't have to move as fast, you don't have to be as strong. I'm just going to outwit you at this point and but then the symbiote gives him that little bit of versatility now to do more things, allow him to make up for the strength. And I'd like to see him make use of that.
Carnage, I know it doesn't look it. You see Venom, big monster, and Carnage is skinny. But the Carnage symbiote is stronger than the Venom.
Really?
Symbiote. It is, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel lied to then.
And plus, he can make all those weapons. He can make his symbiote.
Knives, yep, and like the spikes.
I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about that. And I know Cletus Cassidy is like, he's a redhead.
Yeah, I had that wig, dude.
That wig.
Oh my god. Oh man, Woody Harrelson can never pull off a wig. I don't know what it is. I love the guy. He's one of my favorite actors from like the very beginning. I think I've been watching all his movies besides Cheers. I mean, I loved him, and like a lot of the stuff he does. He's funny. He can be serious, but I don't know. This is going to be interesting. And honestly, I feel like what they should do with the Carnage movies is build up and make Carnage the third movie person.
Oh, yeah?
Bad guy. He kind of gets away. He plays a little bit of a part. But so that way they can build up. It's going to take a couple of years between each movie. It's going to take a year and a half in between each movie. And I feel what they could do is they could, as the kids who've been growing up with the movie, will finally be old enough to get to that rated R version.
I wonder if Sony will stay true to the comics on this. I mean, and again, they don't have to.
No.
But Carnage is the spawn of Venom, so I wonder if that's how it's going to go down. Like when Carnage gets the suit, Brock breaks out of prison, and a little bit of the symbiote stays behind, and that's how Carnage gets that suit.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wonder if they're gonna set it up like that, if they're gonna do something a little bit different. I would actually like to see something different.
What I'm actually really interested about right now, I want to bring this up. This is completely obscure. Is the poster for the new Spider-Man? The black suit is on the poster. Like Spider-Man has the black suit. I'm interested in how they're going to introduce that. I'm thinking that while Spider-Man was fighting Thanos on another planet, is where he picks it up.
That was fan-made, by the way. That was fan-made.
I'm hoping it's true.
But if how things are being put to place, Venom Ray has the symbiote. I actually would think that the MCU is probably never going to give Spider-Man a symbiote suit.
No?
Yeah, I think that's how they're going to play it. I think it would be a perfect opportunity for him to get the suit now that he's in space. I totally see what you're saying because of Secret Wars. That's how he gets it. I totally agree. It would have been a great setup for that. But
because think about it. Venom has to fight Carnage. Venom loses. Carnage disappears till third movie. Venom fights Spider-Man at the end of movie 2. Gets the black suit. The little bit that was left behind makes him strong enough, fights Carnage in third movie, wins.
Because Spider-Man would be stronger than Eddie Brock because Spider-Man does have, superpowers.
Yes.
Brock does not.
Yes, but I feel like that would be a great way to make that for him to fill that gap. Like Venom is not complete, and like he loses to Carnage because of it. But then eventually he gets complete because he pulls it from Spider-Man, and then he'd be able to fight Carnage in the third and go toe to toe.
That would be a great idea. Sony, I hope you're listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, MCU, you better be listening to all
I want
this
my
great
royalties.
ideas. So I think that's gonna close it out for today's episode. Unless you have anything else you want to add.
I've hit every wicket I want to do.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we hit everything and more that we want to talk about, especially when it comes to reviewing the movie and potential ideas that could happen. So
you and I do this all the time. We can go on for hours about spitballing between movies.
Unfortunately, this show is only a half hour, but we could make this a whole hour episode. But we don't want to bore you to death, I guess. But so that's our takes on Venom. What did you think of it? If you have to agree with or disagree with anything that you thought about with what we thought, leave it in the comment section below. Let's start a conversation in the comments. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more from the channel, make sure you subscribe. It does help a lot. Show some love because it does go a long way. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon. See you later.